Girls, I am here to go over your reading for today. Today, your assignment is only to read this story, Too Much of a Good Thing. So I'll be reading that with you, and then we will discuss it. Also, as we are reading, I'm going to be going over the vocabulary words. But before we get started, let's just look at this title, Too Much of a Good Thing. So to me, I'm thinking, I wonder what this is going to be about. Too much of a good thing. Sometimes this is kind of what I'm thinking. Sometimes you maybe like a certain thing, could be a certain kind of food, but then you eat it so much that then after a while you just don't want it anymore. So I'm kind of wondering if that might be what this is talking about. But I'm also going to look at the picture down at the bottom of this page, and I see a girl sitting at a table. Looks like she's eating ice cream, but it also looks like this story does not take place now. It looks like the story might take place in the future because I see some interesting looking objects in the background. So, um, I'm just going to make a prediction here. I'm just going to predict that since this is called Too Much of a Good Thing and she's eating ice cream, I'm going to make a prediction that she is going to be eating too much ice cream. Now, for what reason? I don't know, but we're going to read to find that out. So, boys and girls, if you don't already have it, go ahead and go get your story called Too Much of a Good Thing. And we will read it together. And as we are reading, we will go over the vocabulary, some of the vocabulary words that might be a little bit tricky to understand. So this is called Too Much of a Good Thing. Zelda pressed the button on the spaceship's food maker. Well, that first sentence already tells me, boys and girls, that this story does not take place in the past or in the present. This story takes place in the future. Normally, a food maker could make anything you wanted. All you had to do was say pizza, popcorn, or whatever, and press a button. Then it would make whatever you had asked for instantly. And that just means the word instantly, boys and girls, just means right away. But the food maker on the spaceship had been broken for days. Now it would only make ice cream. And the ship was still over a week away from her grandparents' planet. Yum! This is great, said Zelda, grinning. She sat down at the table with a heaping, that means huge, bowl of chocolate ice cream. So the word heaping, again, boys and girls, just means a lot of something. It means it's just a ton of it. Well, I, for one, am getting tired of ice cream, grumbled Zelda's dad. So when you grumble about something, boys and girls, you're complaining about it. Sometimes we complain or grumble about things that we are maybe like the dad are tired of, or maybe something we don't want to do. We just grumble about it or complain about it. So let's continue. A bowl of soup would taste great about now. Zelda's Zelda's sister Anka piped up, and that just means she said something, but she was excited about it. She was when you pipe up about something, you're just excited and can't wait to say it. So Zelda's sister Anka piped up. How can anyone get tired of ice cream? This is like a dream come true. Zelda's dad sighed. We wouldn't even have this problem if we had lived 200 years ago. I know, replied Zelda. People used to fix their own food. They grew it or shopped at places called grocery stores. They never knew how great a broken food maker could be. Suddenly, oops, excuse me, I skipped a paragraph. But after 2 more days, even Zelda and her sister were tired of ice cream. Zelda just wanted something, anything that wasn't cold and sweet. Suddenly, Zelda smiled and said, I have an idea. Let's fix some food ourselves, like in the old days. We could ask to pick some vegetables from the ship's garden. It might even be fun to make our own meal. Make a meal? How will we know if we're picking beans or beets or broccoli? Anka blurted out. That means she just interrupted and said it, um, shaking her head. And just how do we fix a potato? That's easy, laughed Zelda. The ship's computer can help us. Come on, let's get started. All the grown-ups thought the girls had a great idea. Even the ship's captain. She'd had her fill of ice cream too. Just be sure to make me a big bowl of hot green beans and add a side order of mashed potatoes, the captain joked. Zelda was so excited. They were going to be human food makers. She tried to remember the word once used for people who fixed meals. Then it came to her. They were called cooks. Okay, so boys and girls, we have already talked about how this story takes place in the future. And so let's also talk about what kind of story it is before we get this wrapped up. So we know the people seem real, but the events, boys and girls, that happen in the story could not happen. So we know that this is like a fantasy story because of a lot of the details that happen in the story. A lot of the things that happen in the story tell us that this could not be any other story but a fantasy story. Um, like we could look back in the text at the first paragraph and just right away when it says Zelda pressed the button on the spaceship's food maker and it said normally a food maker could make anything you wanted. All you had to do was say pizza, popcorn, or whatever and press a button. So we know, boys and girls, that that really can't happen in real life. And so that's part of what makes it fantasy. Um, Also, in paragraph 1, they are on a spaceship and they are headed to their grandparents' planet. So that means they live on some different type of in some different type of place, and their grandparents live on another planet, and they're traveling by a spaceship. So those two things, those two sentences or two events in the story, boys and girls, tell us that that story is a fantasy. So tomorrow we will get back with this story, um, and we will be answering some who, what, when, where, why questions about the text. So I hope that you have a great day. I hope this lesson has helped you remember what some of the genres, something about settings, the vocabulary, and again, I hope that you have a great day. And if you have any questions, you can contact your teacher.